I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. But we can delete all this out. Hey, strangers. This is Britt.
I'm D.
We're just testing out intros. It's fine, D.
I thought we were doing this, the actual recording.
Yeah, but I can delete whatever I want to delete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that yet?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to start over. Hey there, strangers. This is Britt.
I'm D.
And this is It's a Strange World After All.
The first episode. Wait. Is this going to be this is not going to be the first episode, though.
Yeah, we'll just go wherever the wind takes us.
Okay. This is the one that we have ready to go.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be the first episode, but we had a change of plans. So we wanted to cover Black cases first for Black History Month.
Because we Black.
Yeah, we're African American.
This is true.
Okay, so I picked this case because, first of all, we're from Texas. This happened in San Antonio. Were you born in San Antonio?
No, I was the first of generations to be born in Dallas.
Okay, so I was born in San Antonio, but raised in Dallas. But this one was in San Antonio, and I wanted to pick that one because it's our hometown. Well, my hometown.
It's my hometown, too, by spirits. I don't know.
So this is the case of Nicholas Barclay.
Can we title this A Case of Mistaken Identity? Maybe.
That'll
Hold
work.
it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
So, getting into it, he was last seen June 13th, 1994 in San Antonio. He was playing basketball with his friends, and then he called his mom to pick him up. But I guess was she asleep?
Yes.
His brother ended up answering the phone and was like, no, just go ahead and walk home. And then that was the last time that he was seen.
Yeah, and his mom, Beverly Dollarhide is her name. She actually worked overnight. That's why she was asleep. It's not like she's just like this terrible mom and was like, nah, I'm asleep. I'm not going to pick you up. She actually works overnight and she was asleep when he called.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to call her a terrible mom. This is off script, but I don't know. Maybe she did the best she could do, but she was like at the time a drug addict.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get into it.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. He was 13 when he disappeared, and he was last seen wearing, I'm going to mess up my words a lot, so.
Oh, I can't do that because that belongs to someone else. I was about to go, hey, Tom. Shout out.
I forgot where I was. Okay. He was 13 at the time of his disappearance, and he was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, purple pants, black sneakers, and carrying a pink backpack. Not trying to be funny. This is off script too.
Lord.
But how could you not notice him?
Oh, by what he was wearing?
What he was wearing. Like, nobody saw him.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about the purple pants.
Purple pants and a pink backpack.
Okay. I never even thought about that. That's a good point, though.
Yeah. I don't know. That just stuck out to me.
And I'm not trying to diss San Antonio, but this is San Antonio in, the 90s? The 90s. Wasn't everybody on, drugs?
What does that have to do with...
I don't recall because I was on drugs. I don't know. We might edit this out. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, my... Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So even though he was 13, he had tattoos, which I think he did them himself, or he may have just gotten somebody to... It wasn't like a real tattoo. It was just etched in his skin.
Oh, okay.
So it was... He had the letters J on his left shoulder, T on his left hand between his thumb and forefinger, and the letters L and N on his outer left ankle.
He was a rebel.
Yeah, he was. And he had a gap between his front teeth.
Nicholas had a sentencing hearing scheduled for June 14th, the day after his disappearance. Sorry. Nicholas had a sentencing hearing. I'm going to do it again. Nicholas had a sketch.
Oh my God.
You gave me the curse. Okay, for real. Third time's the charm. It's because I'm trying to be fancy with it.
Yeah.
Nicholas had a sentencing hearing scheduled for June 14th, the day after his disappearance. He was frequently truant, and when he did attend school, he was in trouble a lot for behavioral issues. Nicholas had a juvenile criminal record. He'd broken into a convenience store, stolen a pair of shoes, and threatened a teacher. Carrie Gibson, Nicholas's sister, says that he'd often run away when he didn't get his way. But it was only for like a night or two. He always came back home, or his mom knew where to find him. So she would go to like a nearby neighbor's house or his friend's house, and she knew that's where he was. So it was possible that he could have ran away.
Yeah. So on September 25th, 1994, Nicholas's older brother, Jason, called the police saying he thought he saw Nicholas trying to break into the garage. The police searched the neighborhood but found nothing. The police do not believe that Jason actually saw Nicholas.
I'm going to call shrimp. Does that smell fishy? Tilapia.
Yeah.
It's a little fishy.
Yeah, because first of all, he lives there, so why would he be breaking in?
Right.
And to me, it just sounds like he may be trying to cover something up.
Yes. Also, the fact that it's been, what, 3 months now?
Yeah.
For one, if you ran away, what are you coming back for? Unless you're coming back, like, to live with us again. Why are you breaking into the garage? And what is in the garage that you need?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me, but they found nothing. So they don't even think he was there to begin with. So on October 7th, 1997, 3 years and 4 months after Nicholas's disappearance, law enforcement in Linares.
Linares.
Is that how you say it?
I'm going to say Linares.
Linares, Spain, received a call from a tourist. The tourist said that he and his wife found a teenage boy. The boy seemed to be very scared and in need of help. So they sent someone to pick him up and take him to a shelter. That same night, the Center for Missing and Exploited, I can't even talk.
See, it's not just me.
Children in Arlington, Virginia, received a call from a police officer in Spain by the name of Jonathan Duran. He told them that he had a teenage boy in his office that had been missing for around 3 to 4 years and that he was an American. It was concluded that this boy the tourists found was Nicholas Barclay. They immediately reached out to Nicholas's family.
So Nicholas's older sister, Carrie, gets in contact with the shelter in Spain that Nicholas is supposedly had been picked up at. Is that English? Okay.
Probably.
Barely. Okay, she speaks with Jonathan Duran, who said he was the one who figured out who Nicholas was. He tells her that Nick has been abducted and was forced into like a sex ring operation. He had escaped and was found wandering the streets alone in Linares, Spain. Carrie asked to speak with Nicholas. This is awful. Okay. Asked to speak with Nicholas to verify that it's really him. Nick doesn't say much except for like a faint, I love you. I'm imagining that it sounds like that. I love you. And she tells him basically that she's going to come to get him. Carrie. On October 14, 1997, she flew to Spain. When she gets to the shelter, she is not met by the all-American Nicholas Barclay with his blue eyes and blonde hair. That's why I call him all-American.
Oh, okay. Is that what all-American is?
It's what it's been.
Oh.
I don't... Okay.
I guess.
Instead, she meets Frederick Bourdin, who has dark brown eyes and dark brown hair that he has so clearly dyed blonde.
Was his roots showing?
His roots were showing on, like, when you go back and look at the videos or, like, that interview.
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carrie notices... So she does notice that Frederick has the gap, like Nicholas, and she notices that tattoos. But I didn't know that his tattoos were, like, carved. I thought they were real tattoos.
Because, like, if you think about it, you can't get... It's illegal. He was 13.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So he couldn't get a tattoo. I think... I don't know if it was in the article, because I don't think it was in the documentary, but they said someone, like, did it for him.
Okay.
With, like, a hanger or something.
Okay, so that poses another question. If Frederick got the tattoos to pose as Nicholas, and it had only been like, what, maybe 48 hours in between the time he talked to her and then...
Oh, yeah.
What did they look like? They wouldn't have healed by then.
She, honestly, do you think she was even paying attention?
She noticed them.
Oh, well.
She mentions them. She says,
maybe she just glanced at him and was like, oh, he has the tattoos.
Maybe. Yeah, because again, why would someone go through all the trouble? Okay, so she meets with him. They go into the visitor's room, and Carrie proceeds to show Nicholas Frederick all of these photos of the family. She was giving him the names of everyone and asked him if he remembered any of them. So he'd be like, you see this? I mean, she'd be like, you see this? This is Mom. You remember Uncle Pat? Because she kept saying that he kind of resembled.
Why though? Why? Keep going.
You sure? You can vent if you want to.
This is stressing me out. It's like, you can't. Why was she even allowed to do that before they verified that it was him?
I don't know. Yeah, so here's the gotcha. This is why she's stressed. So the judge in Spain wanted to be sure that Frederick was who he was claiming to be. So they had him do a separate interview alone.
After she already showed him all the pictures.
Yes. And one of the things they did was show him different family photos and had him identify who everyone was. So, of course, he identifies everyone correctly. And they're like, here's a U.S. passport. Come on down.
Unacceptable. Okay.
Wait, I have to say this. My mom, I made her listen to like a podcast over it. And she was saying, it's just amazing. It's about to get real racial.
Oh my God.
It's amazing how certain people who don't look like us can get away with certain things. Because he technically is a person of color, but he's not black. So it's like if some random black 20-year-old was like, I'm this missing kid, would they get him from that country? Like, would he have been able to do that?
Probably not. Not probably, no.
No. What's crazy about this is that Frederick orchestrated the entire thing in such a short amount of time, mind you. Also, how trusting people were of him. He was the one that caught the local authorities in Spain. You remember that tourist?
Yes, tourist. It was him.
Yes, okay. That was him. He convinced the shelter that he was an American and he needed to stay overnight in an office to call home to America. And they were just like, okay. He calls America. He convinced the person that was working at that center to fax him Nicholas's flyer before even verifying anything. He even convinced Carrie to come all the way to Spain.
How are you convincing people that you're American, but you have a French accent?
A thick French accent.
Okay.
Also, he was Jonathan Duran.
What?
Yeah, he was posing as Jonathan Duran. He was just giving him a fake name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know how she didn't meet him and say, "You sound like the man I spoke to on the phone."
It's so much in this that just don't make sense. I'm over it already. Okay, so once he's in America and meets with the rest of the family, they accept Frederick as Nicholas, including Nicholas's own mom.
Lord.
Others were suspicious of Frederick. They noticed that he looked nothing like Nicholas besides the gap and the tattoos. They also noticed his thick French accent. Frederick Bourdin met with Special Agent Nancy Fisher. She immediately noticed that he did not appear to look 16 at all, and he even had a shadow of a beard. He had a whole 5 o'clock shadow. I mean, it's possible for a 16-year-old to have a beard, but...
It hit different.
During this interview, Frederick tells Nancy that he was kidnapped by the military and taken overseas. He says that he was kept in a room with different kids and was sexually abused every night. He says they burned him, broke his fingers and his wrists, and experimented on him. He claimed his abductors stuck needles in their eyes and chemically altered their hair and eye color. This clearly wasn't possible. I mean, the hair, yeah, but the eyes...
Yeah, I didn't know they had that technology in the 90s.
I'm pretty sure they didn't. This would explain the drastic physical differences from when he went missing until now. Frederick tells Nancy that they were not allowed to speak English and that he picked up his accent from living in Europe for so long. Long being 3 years. So maybe I should have Googled this, but I think it is possible to pick up an accent, but how long do you have to be living in that place?
I don't know. This is something...
I'm pretty sure it's longer than 3 years.
I'm pretty sure it's longer than 3 years. Not to mention the fact that it's broken English. It's not just an accent.
Clearly, English was not his first language. So...
Do with that what you will.
He claims that on the night the tourists found him, he had escaped through a door that was left open by one of the kidnappers. If you're getting kidnapped by the military, they're not going to be that careless to leave the door open. Okay.
I thought about that too. But I don't know what they're doing in Spain. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so Nancy decides that what Fred Nick...
That's my nickname for him.
Nancy decides that what Fred Nick is saying couldn't possibly be fake. Like, why would anyone make up these horrible details like this? So she lets him go back to Nick's family.
Nancy! I just said, bless Nancy's heart. I feel like when he first comes in, she's like, what is this? Like, is this a joke? But then she listened to his stories and was like, I don't understand why anyone would make this up.
Why would you?
Yeah. Also the fact that she's like, well, the family's saying that he's Nicholas Barclay. So he must be Nicholas Barclay. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it. So Freak Nick was what I was about to say. Fred Nick took over Nick's life. He was living like an American teenager. He lived with Nicholas's family, went to high school, and he was hanging out with friends, Nicholas's friends. His sister Carrie says that he even developed a crush on a girl in his neighborhood named Amy.
Was this girl in high school?
I think she was in high school.
He's a whole adult.
That's what I was about to say. He's a pedophile. But I didn't want to put that on his name. If you hear this...
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So, my favorite person, Charlie Parker. He's a private investigator. He tracks down Nicholas Frederick in order to get him to do an interview with Eyewitness News. While Charlie was watching the interview from behind the scenes, he noticed a picture of the real Nicholas Barclay and again saw that he had blue eyes and Frederick had the darkest of brown. Charlie decides that he needs to compare Frederick's ears to Nicholas Barclay's. And I'm sorry, he noticed, of course, the other inconsistencies about Frederick. Yeah. So he decides, I need to maybe compare Frederick's ears to Nicholas Barclay's. He said that our ears were like our fingerprints and they could help you easily identify someone. So Charlie takes the photo of Nicholas back to his office. He enlarges it and compares it to an image from Frederick's interview. As Charlie predicted, their ears were not the same. Clutching my pearls. He knew Frederick was an imposter. He actually thought that Frederick could have been like some kind of military spy or something like that. I found this so interesting. Apparently, this is how James Earl Ray, the man who murdered Martin Luther King, was caught. They identified him by his ears. I also thought that it was ironic that Nancy Fisher told the family and Frederick under no circumstances should they talk to the media. Then he gets caught by doing an interview with the media.
And he said he just did it because he wanted the attention.
You got it.
Stupid, you know that you're not this little boy.
Yet.
But you still on TV.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty.
And he was fresh too. He had his hat and I was like, I was like, okay, Frederick. But, I mean, why would you do it?
I don't know.
Stupid. When asked for more details about his experiences, Frederick couldn't remember any important details, such as places or names that would help his kidnapping investigation. He blamed his trauma whenever he couldn't remember things, including things about Nicholas's childhood, family, and friends. Nancy convinced the family that she thought it was a good idea for Nick to see a forensic specialist in order to help him deal with his trauma. Nancy took...
I'm sorry. All I kept thinking was no more trauma for me.
Anyway.
Go ahead. Your question.
I forgot.
Sorry.
I don't even know where I was.
They were going to take him to see a forensic specialist.
Nancy took Frederick to the, Nick, to the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. There, he met with Dr. Bruce D. Perry. Dr. Perry knew right away when talking to Frederick that something was wrong. He noted that Frederick didn't show any signs of someone who suffered from trauma, because he didn't. He also noted Frederick's French accent and knew that he could not have been raised in a household that spoke English. Nancy calls Nick's mother, her mother, his sister.
He calls somebody in the family.
Nancy calls Nick's sister and tells her that Dr. Perry confirmed that there was no way this could be Nicholas Barclay, let alone an American citizen. She told Carrie not to come to the airport when they got back to San Antonio, and she was not obligated to take him back home with her. However, there was Carrie at the airport to pick Nicholas up.
First of all, can I say, next to Charlie Parker, Dr. Bruce Perry is like my favorite because he's like, I ain't got time for this. He was like, no nonsense. No, he didn't have time. He was like, this is not, no, get out of here. Also, Nancy Fisher is like, I'm so confused. Why would you take in a complete stranger from another country at that? She just couldn't understand why the family was accepting him as Nicholas.
When clearly, I don't get it either. So I'm with Nancy on this.
Nancy?
Because, I mean, from jump, it was clear that this is not Nicholas.
No, not at all. And like I said, when you first presented this to me, I thought, okay, maybe he was kidnapped as a baby, a toddler, and then came back at 16, and that's how something like this could happen.
Yeah.
It was 3 years had passed.
Not a long time.
No, not at all.
Not for him to come back looking like a grown man with a 5 o'clock shadow and a French accent.
Not looking how you look, sounding how you sound, Frederick. After the trip to Houston, Nancy Fisher asked that Frederick and Beverly give DNA samples. Nicholas, of course, refused to give any blood samples or to have his fingerprints taken. Did I say fingerprints?
Yeah, she did.
Let's do it again. Nicholas, of course, refused to give any blood samples or have his fingerprints taken. Beverly also refused to give any DNA samples. She stated that she didn't need to take a test to prove that this was her son, Beverly. And in the imposter documentary, Special Agent Nancy claims that Nick's mom literally laid on the floor in protest of Frederick giving any DNA to prove that he was Nicholas. She was like, I've never seen anything like that. And then they cut to Bev and she's just like, I said no, but I don't remember refusing per se. It wasn't like that.
No is refusing. Beverly.
In February of 1998, the FBI got a court order to obtain Frederick's fingerprints and blood samples. March 3rd, 1998, they received Frederick's records. He was identified as 23-year-old Frederick Bourdin, a French serial imposter who was wanted by Interpol. He had been charged with impersonating 500 different identities, 3 of whom were missing children. Frederick Bourdin was convicted of perjury and fraudulently... Ooh, you hear I said that? I said that right. I was sweating too when it came. Let's try it. Frederick Bourdin was convicted of perjury and fraudulently.
You said it right.
I said it right. Fraudulently.
Kept going.
Fraudulently. I know I got too cocky. Fraudulently obtaining a passport. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. While in prison, he would call people claiming to have leads on multiple missing children's cases.
What is wrong with him? It's something has to be wrong with him, upstairs. Because why would you do this?
Wait, in the Tester episode, y'all, she was like, "How is he doing this? What kind of prison is this?"
Yeah, what kind of prison allows this? I don't understand.
Well, yeah, he was still...
You are in prison.
Yeah.
And then in the documentary, I don't know, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but the phone was in the cell with him.
Oh, yeah, it did look like the phone was in the cell.
Okay.
But it's a Spain jail, correct?
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, maybe it's different.
Okay.
Our prison, that's another topic altogether. Our prison system is trash. Okay. In October of 2003, he was deported to France. 3 months after that, he tried to steal the identity.
It's okay.
It's not, y'all.
No, because
Child.
I struggle too, so.
It's like you got peanut butter in your mouth.
Yeah. This is our first time doing this, so we're going to be a little...
wonky.
Yeah. Honestly, most of them are going to be a little wonky.
Because we're a mess. Okay. 3 months after that, he tried to steal the identity of another missing teen, 14-year-old Leo Bailey. Frederick currently lives in France with his wife and 3 children. So somebody married him and procreated with him.
If she like it, I love it. When Frederick was first arrested, he told authorities that he believed the reason the family never exposed him for the fraud he was is that they were guilty of Nick's murder. He claimed that Beverly confessed to him that she and Jason killed Nicholas and hid his body. Based on his allegations about the family, an investigation was opened. It came out that Nicholas's mother was addicted to heroin in 1994, but went into recovery after her son vanished. She was asked to take 3 lie detector tests about her son's case. The first 2 she passed, but failed the third one. She claimed it was due to her lying about questions related to prior thefts she had committed rather than questions about Nicholas's disappearance.
And it wasn't like she got a question or so wrong. She failed miserably. Her answers came out false on just about every question in that third one. Granted, she might have been nervous because it's the third time that you're taking the test, but it was a little odd.
But, why would they make her take 3? Maybe they had new questions or something?
Maybe. Nancy just said she was not convinced. She wasn't convinced.
Okay. Nicholas's older brother, Jason, also struggled with drug addiction. In 1998, not long after checking himself out of a drug rehabilitation facility, he died of a drug overdose. He had been considered a possible suspect in his brother's disappearance.
This is also after Nancy Fisher confronts him about possibly being involved in Nick's murder. So this kind of felt suspicious to me. Another thing worth mentioning is that in an interview with one of Nicholas's childhood friends, Kevin Hendricks, he expresses that he believed Jason had something to do with either his disappearance or his death. So it was almost like Nancy says, "Hey, Jason, we got some questions for you." Jason checks out of the rehab facility he's in, goes crazy on drugs and overdoses. So
in one article, they say that it may have been a suicide. He did it, So, and then not only that, he was the only person in the family that pretty much admitted to that not being Nicholas.
Oh, yeah.
Because not Nicholas, but Frederick. He says that when he met Jason, all Jason said was good luck, and then he just left.
Yeah.
So, obviously he knows something. So, with Jason's death, the investigation stalled. Nicholas has never been found, and his case remains unsolved. So, let's get into our theories. So, mine, I honestly don't know, because I'm leaning towards the family being responsible, because I just keep thinking, how do you not know that this is not your son, and why would you let him live there with you? Obviously, it's not your son. As a mother, I feel like as a mother, how can you not recognize your own child?
Yeah. Because
like you said before, he wasn't like a baby or a toddler. When he disappeared, he was 13. So I don't understand that. And then maybe he just ran away. Maybe he was scared because he had the court appearance, and maybe he thought he was going to go to jail or whatever, and he just ran away. And
and I could easily see Jason being how he was described, saying something like, "Oh yeah, you're going to go to jail, and bad stuff is going to happen to you," and scaring him. Yeah. So
I'm just going to go with he ran away. Maybe something happened to him after he ran away. But that's my theory. He just ran away.
Yeah. I wish I had something more than that too. I'm just going to say same thing. They have no idea what happened to Nicholas. I think they were probably all high when he went missing, because Carrie looked a little suspect too. And you look,
allegedly.
I was calling Carrie Casey in our whole tester episode, and you never once corrected me. Yeah. I was like, Casey. Her name is Carrie. But yeah, I believe that his sister Carrie may have experienced some sort of cognitive dissonance, or maybe the whole family. So it was like, Spain is calling. Spain is calling. They're telling me they got Nicholas Barclay. They talked to the American embassy. They're setting this up. There's no way that they could get this wrong. Yeah. So I mean, this is who he is. And then when she saw him, she may have been like, I don't know, but they went through all this trouble to get him back. So it has to be Nicholas. Like I said, same thing with the family. It was like they did all this to get him back. So it just has to be Nicholas. It was kind of too late to turn back. So they convinced themselves that Frederick, with his dark hair, dark eyes, root showing, French accent, that was who that was.
This whole case just stressed me out. Like, especially seeing him, like watching a documentary and seeing him, like, I just don't understand. How could you not know? Yeah. And then, like, so the video of him getting off the plane, that was the most awkward. Like, he had on a hat. His scarf covered, like, the whole bottom half of his face, and then he had on, like, sunglasses.
It was sus.
Yeah. And I just don't get it, but I don't know. I think he just ran away. That's it. Solved it. He ran away. But I mean, we didn't solve it because we don't know like where his body is, or I mean, all we have.
And that's all, folks.
Let us know what you think. Put it in the comments on our Instagram. We don't have Instagram.
It'll be at It's a Strange World After All. I'm sure. Possibly.
If the name is not taken.
If the name is not, it's not.
That's it. We'll see you
next time. And remember, keep it strange.